What if the silence in the universe isn't a mystery? What if it's a warning? Somewhere between simple chemistry and a civilization that spans the stars, there's a wall, a barrier that almost nothing gets through. Scientists call it the Great Filter, and the terrifying question isn't whether it exists, it's whether we've already passed it, or whether it's still waiting for us. In our last video, we talked about the Fermi paradox, the strange fact that a universe old enough and big enough to be teeming with life has given us total silence instead. Billions of stars, billions of years, and nobody home. In 1996, economist Robin Hanson proposed an explanation that's stuck with scientists ever since. He argued that somewhere along the path from lifeless chemistry to a galaxy-spanning civilization, there has to be at least one step that's almost impossible to complete. A filter. Something so improbable, so difficult that only a tiny fraction of planets, maybe only 1 in a trillion, maybe fewer, ever make it through. And here's the part that should keep you up at night. We don't know where that filter is. It could be something we already survived, millions or billions of years ago without even realizing how close we came to never existing at all. Or it could be something still ahead of us, a test we haven't taken yet. And if it's ahead of us, the universe's silence isn't proof that we're special. It's proof that almost nobody passes. Let's start with the good news, because there's a real chance the hardest part is already over. To get from a lifeless planet to a species capable of building rockets, every single one of these steps had to happen, and each one is far less certain than it sounds. Step 1. Life had to begin at all. Somewhere on early Earth, roughly 4 billion years ago, non-living chemistry crossed a line and became self-replicating. We still don't fully understand how. We've never recreated it in a lab. As far as we can tell, it may have only happened once, in one place, under one very specific set of conditions. If abiogenesis is rare, genuinely rare, that alone could be the filter. Most planets with the right ingredients for life might simply never cross that line. Step 2. Complex cells had to appear. For nearly 2 billion years, almost half of Earth's entire history, life on this planet was nothing but simple, single-celled organisms. Bacteria. Nothing more. Then, in what may have been a single, staggeringly unlikely event, one simple cell absorbed another, and the two began working together. This merger is believed to be the origin of complex cells, the building blocks of every plant, animal, and fungus that has ever existed. Some scientists believe this happened exactly once in the entire 4 billion-year history of life on Earth. Once. If that's true, it means every multicellular organism on this planet, every tree, every animal, every human being, descends from a single, improbable accident. Step 3. Multicellular life had to evolve. Even after complex cells existed, it took another billion years before organisms figured out how to cooperate, to form bodies made of trillions of specialized cells working together instead of competing. Step 4. Intelligence had to emerge. Of the billions of species that have ever existed on Earth, exactly one developed the kind of abstract reasoning, tool use, and language capable of building a civilization. 1. Every one of these steps could be the filter, and if any single one of them is the truly hard part, the near impossible barrier, then we've already done the hardest thing in the universe. We got through it. The question is whether that's actually true, or whether the real filter is still ahead. Now for the part that keeps scientists up at night. Because there's another possibility, a darker one. What if the hardest step isn't behind us? What if it's still coming? What if every civilization that reaches our exact level of technology eventually hits a wall they can't survive? Let's look at the candidates. Nuclear self-destruction. For the first time in Earth's 4 billion-year history, A single species now holds the ability to end civilization in a matter of hours, not through some external threat, through its own hands. We've had close calls, moments during the Cold War where a single miscalculation, a false alarm, a misread signal, nearly triggered global annihilation. We survived those moments. But surviving them once doesn't mean surviving them forever. Engineered pandemics. The same biotechnology that lets us cure diseases also lets us, in theory, design them. As the tools of synthetic biology become cheaper and more accessible, the number of people capable of creating something catastrophic, intentionally or by accident, keeps growing. Unaligned artificial intelligence, perhaps the most modern candidate for the filter. We are racing to build machines more capable than ourselves, in some cases without fully understanding how they make decisions, and without a guaranteed way to ensure their goals stay aligned with our own. If a filter is defined as the point where a civilization builds something more powerful than its ability to control it, this may be the closest thing we have to it, happening in real time. Ecological collapse. Every civilization that has to consume its planet's resources faster than they regenerate is running against a clock. If a technological species can't figure out how to sustain itself before it exhausts what it depends on, the filter isn't an event. It's a slow, quiet erosion. And the most unsettling possibility of all, it isn't any one of these. It's the pattern. The fact that becoming technologically advanced enough to leave your planet requires the same capabilities that make you dangerous enough to destroy it. Power and self-destruction may not be two separate risks. They might be the same risk, wearing different masks. If that's the case, the Great Filter isn't a specific event we need to survive. It's a phase every civilization has to pass through, and one that, if the universe's silence is any indication, almost none of them do. So, which possibility should we actually be hoping for? It sounds strange, but the answer is, we should be hoping the filter is behind us. We should be hoping the hard part is already over. Here's why. If the filter is behind us, if it was abiogenesis, or the origin of complex cells, or the leap to intelligence, then every day we continue existing is proof that we already beat the odds. The silence in the universe isn't a threat. It's just math. Almost nothing else made it this far, and we did. But if the filter is ahead of us, the math works in the opposite direction. It means every civilization that reaches roughly our stage, nuclear capability, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, eventually meets the same fate. Not most civilizations. Not many civilizations. Nearly all of them. And there's no reason to believe we'd be the exception. This is why the Great Filter is different from most existential questions. It's not just asking, will something bad happen to us? It's asking, does everyone who gets this far eventually destroy themselves? And are we already standing at that exact point? Look at where humanity is right now. We've had nuclear weapons for less than a century. We're only beginning to understand synthetic biology. We're building artificial intelligence faster than we're building the safeguards for it. If the Great Filter is still ahead of us, we may not be approaching it. We may already be inside. There's no way to know for certain which version of the Great Filter is true. Not yet. But here's what makes this different from ordinary fear. If the filter is behind us, nothing about our future changes. We keep going, the same as before. But if it's ahead of us, then the choices being made right now, in labs, in government meetings, in the decisions of a handful of powerful people and institutions, may determine whether Signal Lost, or any civilization like it, ever gets the chance to look back and say, we made it through. The universe isn't silent because life is impossible. It's silent because survival might be. And somewhere out there, if any other civilization ever reached exactly this point in their own story, this is likely the last chapter we would have heard from them. So if the filter really is ahead of us, Why hasn't a single other civilization ever tried to reach out and warn us? There's a theory for that, too. One that suggests staying silent isn't a mistake. It's survival. Next time, we're exploring the dark forest theory, and why reaching out into the dark might be the most dangerous thing a civilization can do.